Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And oh boy, whoo, I am worn out, guys. I was just passed out on my couch upstairs. I was like, just tired. Just tired. I was up a little bit early today. A little early for me, anyway. Probably not for a normal human early at all. But for me, it was a little early. And I probably should have taken a nap. I didn't do that. But, whew. But tonight we've got some stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about... a little bit. We're going to be talking about Michigan and this Governor Whitmer, something like that. We're going to be talking about this chick a little bit more for a couple reasons. We're going to be talking about one big thing, one big aspect is that she is being sued. Hold on, I'm trying to get everything pulled up here. She's being sued by a whole bunch of people who have come together as Michigan United for Liberty. They're suing Gretchen Whitmer in her capacity as governor of the state of Michigan. Part of the reason that they're suing is, you know, this generalized idea of liberty. Another part of the reason is that she is, oh my goodness, excuse me. She is doing stuff in Michigan that is unlawful as governor. I know, like, we have this idea that all of these measures are being taken rightly and justly for our good. And that may kind of be true, but the state of Michigan, in particular, does not have a provision in its constitution that says exempt during a pandemic, bro. And the governor has cut out the legislature and is passing things, and more importantly, spending money that she can't spend. She doesn't have the money to spend as governor without Congress. I don't know if you guys remember, but we talked about Michigan a little bit ago. And what we talked about in Michigan at that time was I had a guy on, Adam, and we were talking about this kid who had been arrested for bringing his rifle up to his college campus, right? And in that discussion, when I was talking with Adam, he mentioned that it's Whitler. I thought it was Whitmer. Adam mentioned that she had run on a campaign promising to veto any bill with an appropriation in it that wasn't a budget bill. And unrolling that, the reason that she had done that is because they had to pass appropriations outside of budget. So they would attach an appropriation to a bill to get that was popular, to get some money spent or whatever. And so due to a campaign promise, she promised to veto anything. And the interesting thing that happened there was they tried to pass a bill which would fund people who are wrongfully convicted, right? And then later found out to be innocent, either through DNA evidence or whatever. So they go to jail for X amount of time, and then turns out they weren't supposed to be in prison. So then they get this compensation fund because they spend all this time in prison. It destroys your life, right? Even if, oh, hey, you're not guilty. It's like, well, great, but you took away my earning years. So there's a law passed that would give these people X amount of dollars per year that they were incarcerated. And the governor vetoed it because it required an appropriation to pay out to the fund. So then, you know, the Congress had even tried to get money from like a rainy day fund that Michigan had, and they said nope. The governor's office said no, it's not possible to spend money without legislative action that has an appropriation attached. Even if the state loses a lawsuit and has to pay it, that's too bad. So it was an interesting conversation. But yet here we are just a couple months later, and we're talking about the state implementing programs, passing law, and spending money without those same appropriations in place. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit. And part of the reason that all this is important is because Gretchen Whitmer is doing this as high up on the list of prospects for the Democrat vice president if Joe Biden remembers to nominate anybody. That's, you know, she's on the short list. So anyway, we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to go through this lawsuit. It's 14 pages. It won't take too terribly long. We're going to go through lawsuit in Michigan, and then we're going to switch over to something very relaxed and chill. Ace Attorney. We're going to do some Ace Attorney, and maybe someday, if God has decided that I don't merit punishment any longer, I will finish this case trying to save Edgeworth, the turbo cuck, who should have saved himself a long time ago, or should have just grabbed that ascot that he wears and finished it off. Maybe he should have just stuffed that thing into his throat and died like a man. So we'll do that. We'll do that. And then yeah, I don't think that I will be on Twitch tonight because I am dying in this chair right now. Tomorrow, Drexel will be on tomorrow. I'm not 100% positive what Friday will be. What show will be done on Friday. That's still in the works. Monday will be the DSP lore stream with some special guests to the channel to coach me through DSP's backstory and teach me everything I need to know about that guy. So that is what it's looking like so far. I'm hoping to verify some guests for Cuck College tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. Shave the beard. I can't shave the beard anymore. It's now the only thing keeping me from dying because it filters my drinks as they go in. So no. I don't think It's a Gundam will be on because he didn't seem to express much interest when I brought it up before. But there will be some very good guests. Make no mistake. Andrew War Snowboard says, thoughts on the XFL commissioner Oliver Luck suing Vince McMahon over the XFL's bankruptcy. The league was not insulated from COVID funds, and Luck had a multi-year contract for operation. Does he have a case at all? I have no idea. I haven't looked at it at all. There's a lot of moving parts. I'll see if I can look into it. Andrew, can you remember to message me or email me some info and I'll take a peek? Secularis says, Nick, have you seen the story about a New Jersey police department using drones to spy in people's backyards? Backyards, alleyways, etc. to make sure they are social distancing? Seems like a huge violation of rights. Thoughts? So, it should seem that way. because it should be, but it isn't. Since the government has basically some level of airspace rights, so long as they're not violating your property right in the vertical sense. So in an ideal world, if you buy a piece of property, you own that slice of earth from the core to outer space, straight up, like as if the property line were walls that shot into space and cut all the way down to the core of the earth. You own that. Now, that's impractical for many reasons. Like planes have to fly over your property from time to time, and you can't say that they're trespassing. So the government basically takes a right-of-way easement over all of our properties at some height. And that height can change pretty dramatically depending on where you are. If you're near an airport, that easement is pretty low because you'll have planes coming in and taking off, at lower altitudes. If you live out in the middle of Montana, that easement is pretty high. It could be 10,000, 20,000 feet up. I don't know. I'm giving a hypothetical, but it could be a pretty high easement because you're not going to have low-flying aircraft that the government needs. In any case, the government, that's just for commercial planes, like helicopters and stuff like that. They have other easements and different strata, right? It's almost like a rock strata going up to what the government has the right to fly over your property. Unfortunately, as long as they're not violating that right that you have, they can look down on you and spy on you as much as they want. In fact, there's one of the cases about this. I don't remember the Supreme Court case's name, but basically they had a helicopter flying and were able to look down in a hole or a cutout in someone's roof and look through that, see drugs, and then make an arrest based on those drugs. Looking down into someone's property, literally into their home. And the court's like, well, but anybody could do it. Anybody could look in there, so it's in plain view. Even though that was practically untrue. There was some, I guess if you were in a helicopter and you happen to be just hovering around looking into someone's house, then that would be fine. Even though that might not actually be fine, but that's what the government, used for its reasoning. But, so, short answer, using a drone to look at your stuff is probably legal. If you're outside at all, it's almost definitely legal. Almost definitely. As long as that drone itself is not trespassing or encroaching upon your property rights, they probably have the right to do it. It's very frustrating for, out here, that manifests as Fish and Wildlife or the Department of Natural Resources using drones quite a bit to observe people and their land use, and then going after them for petty infractions like destruction of a wetland or something like that. That happens out here all the time. They use drones for it, and that's just a thing that they do. Ryo Hoshi. No, it does not mean you could use a drone to take photos of the inside of someone's house. And the police can't either. They can't fly a drone like up to your window and take a picture through your window door, but like through the window on the side, because that would be low. That would be parallel to your house. They can't really do that if they're on your property. Now, if they're on your neighbor's property, looking into your window, they maybe can. It gets fuzzy. But in this particular case, it was like There's like a hole or like a sky window, almost like a skylight, I guess, that they could look down into this house. It's a real weird place. Most people aren't going to have that situation where they're actually able to look down into your house. It sounds like they just wanted to let the helicopter evidence stand. Welcome to how criminal procedure has progressed. It's really hard for a judge looking at a person who they know was committing a crime to say we can't include the evidence of them committing the crime. It's really, really hard for them to do that, and they try to find all sorts of ways around it. Because you got a guy, you got the drugs, you got the guns or whatever, looking right at him. Gotta nail him. Okay. Are you sucking on your liquor-drenched, overgrown mustache? I demand you stop that at once, good sir. It's actually sweet tea, but yes. Yes, I am. Dead Shaw says, hey, Nick, I would like to draw your D&D character. You said she's a dragonkin cat girl. If you can DM me details about how she looks, what she wears, weapons, powers, personality, that would be great. My Twitter is deadshaw13. Love your streams. Keep it up. Hey, just a second. I'll show you. I can actually show you this now. This is a perfect stream to do this on too, because it's a very chill, relaxed sort of stream, right? Okay. Here we go. Just a moment. We're almost there. Loading up. And actually, I'll just show you. They changed her name on me. They changed her to Docky McCarran. Rude. Here we go. So if you want to see her, here's what she looks like. All right, just a second. What is this? Okay, sorry. Here we go. There. That's what she looks like. That's Docky McCarran. Oh, that's right. Her name got changed to Karen because I fought something and it aged her to 28. She was 18 and spry and beautiful, and then some enemy looked her in the eyes and it aged her to 28, and now the wall is quickly approaching, and people are much less interested in her. I almost had to take a point of charisma damage, but so far not yet. I didn't make this. You think I could manage this? I've got no discernible skills. But yeah, now she's a 28-year-old cat girl. She's a dragonkin. She's not dragonkin. She's tabaxi. And the dragonkin is the dragon lineage of sorceress. So that's where that comes from. Anyway. So since you asked, I can exit out of here now. So that's Docky McCarran. Now all she does is complain at boutique parlor managers. This is not enough tea. This is a problem with buying like the gallon jug of tea, is that a cup isn't enough. Let's see. Okay. Anyway, thank you to whoever made that beautiful art of my character. Wonderful. Emilio Alberto says, I linked an article on Twitter. So our county judge in Harris County, Texas, ordered to wear a mask or 1,000-day fine or jail. People say her office doesn't have the authority, and the cops say they won't enforce it. Lawsuit like in Michigan. Yeah, maybe. I don't know how a county judge would issue an order that would involve a criminal penalty. But Texas is weird because I think I was talking to Ty earlier on the show. This is a while back. But in Smith County, the judge had enacted the stay-at-home order there. So maybe judges do have the emergency power to do that. But if the cops won't enforce it, then it doesn't matter that the order exists. Once they enforce it, then it matters. And more cops should be doing this in general. The Pie Baker says, day 57 of stay in shelter. The holes in the couch are starting to look moist. Why do this to me? What did I do? What did I do? Oh, God. Okay, so anyway, here is the, we've got the lawsuit here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Oh, wait, there's one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's directly related to this. This will only take a minute. Excuse me. Oh, bring back Tucker Carlson's face. Thank you. This is all any news story should have in it. General. Just Tucker's face. That's it. I gotta shrink this just a little bit. Okay. This is directly related to what's going on in Michigan as well. I brought up this point yesterday. I don't like talking about COVID all the time, but it's just, that's the news. Okay? That's the news. I brought this up yesterday that that left or right, doesn't really matter. Governors aren't acting with the public safety in mind, right? They're acting with their political self-interest in mind. And I present to you piece of evidence number 1,000,000. Whitmer backtracks after COVID-19 contract awarded to Democrat consultant who said Trump should get coronavirus ASAP. Now, as inflammatory as that headline is, that's not the important part. Let's read on a little more. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer's administration acknowledged Tuesday that normal protocols were bypassed when a no-bid contract for coronavirus contact tracing was awarded by the state. I've got this just a bit too wide. There we go. Was awarded by the state to Great Lakes Community Engagement, which is operated by a well-known Democratic consultant, Michael Kohlhaas, who's previously written that President Trump should get coronavirus ASAP and that someone should do the country a favor and cough on that man. I don't care about the joke. The joke is irrelevant. The joke matters for a Fox News article. The joke is just a joke. All right? And he can have that opinion. We actually have the freedom to wish all of our elected officials to die in a horrific coronavirus boating accident. We can do that. That's political speech. That's the essence of our First Amendment, is to hope that all of the people in government choke on the biggest, hairiest dongs and die miserably. We can do that. It's fine. All right? So don't care about the joke. What matters is this: a no-bid contract just given to a Democratic consultant. And let's talk about what they do. The Washington Free Beacon reported earlier Tuesday that Michigan gave a separate contract to track the spread of coronavirus to Every Action VAN, a division of the Democratic Data Operation NGP VAN. Contract for Great Lakes Community Engagement, which would total $200,000 over 8 weeks, was to be executed in coordination with Every Action, which is tightly linked to NGP Van's operation. The state abruptly canceled the contract on Tuesday when it got pointed out that they were just giving money to their campaign, to campaign consultants. They're just giving money away from the state to a political arm. Quote, nearly every major Democratic campaign in America is powered by NGPVAN software, including the Obama campaign's voter contact, volunteer fundraising, and compliance operations in all 50 states, NGPVAN boasts on its website. The Washington Post has described NGPVAN as the voter file provider for Democratic campaigns and independent groups up and down ballot. NGPVAN has previously exposed secretive and proprietary information due to technical glitches. Washington Post has reported, including when a software patch is improperly applied. Contracts raised concerns that Whitmer's administration was tying confidential health information to a political data gathering operation, and that Whitmer, a rising star floated as possible vice presidential candidate, had circumvented the state's normal process for awarding key financial resources. Short story, of course she did. Of course she did. And again, I don't care about the joke, and she focuses on this because that gets people's attention, but I want to know how Governor Whitmer's administration decided to hire this company without a competitive bid process or letting the legislature, charged with ensuring accountability within state government, to know about it, wrote GOP state rep Shane Hernandez in a letter to Whitmer. It was first reported by the Detroit News. I want to know what safeguards the governor has in place to ensure the information gathered during this COVID-19 response doesn't wind up in the hands of any campaigns. What do you mean? So you're saying that the governor of Michigan would award a contract that would allow the Democrat voter tracker company, the company that does this, to have access to state records, including protected health information related to COVID, and would therefore be able to develop a profile on where everybody actually is at present, which would then allow people to cross-verify with their campaign marketing stuff that they already have and know and have a competitive leg up on distributing political materials to their supporters and to undecided voters. That's the point of this. Okay, if you aren't following along because I haven't made a good expression of what they're doing, they're taking coronavirus and they're using that to give the people who get voter data and get out the vote, to give them access to updated confidential health and location information so that they could then funnel that information back to them and their campaigns during election time. And they're doing it with taxpayer money. That's the point of all this. It's crazy. It's crazy. If you did this, this is a crime. They got caught, and so they stopped. I keep bringing this up because this is a great example of what I'm talking about. It's not about your safety. It hasn't been for weeks about your safety. It's about how now they can use the current situation in an election year to influence their careers going forward and their ability to control you, me, and what we do. It's power. It's always power. Politicians don't ever vote themselves out of power. They won't do it. If they would, we'd already have term limits on Congress. If they would, we wouldn't have campaign finance restrictions. If they voted away from their own power, we wouldn't have campaign finance restrictions. And I'm not limiting this to Democrats. You think Kemp in Georgia is not making an extremely political showing by being the first state to reopen publicly? Of course he is. Of course he is. We can't trust the politicians to have our safety and health in mind when they do this stuff, because they don't. God, yeah, that is a terrifying look on that face. Whitmer's office told Fox News that neither Kohlhaas's operation nor NGPVAN should have gotten the funds. but it didn't explain how the purported mistake had occurred in the first place. Mistake? It's not... Oh, they shouldn't have gotten those. You chose it. You guys, you did it. Well, that shouldn't have happened. What do you mean it shouldn't have happened? It wasn't like there's an accidental process of giving government contracts. You have to negotiate out the contract. You have to decide what the terms are, get the other party, and both of you have to agree to it. Oh, that shouldn't have happened. We know. We know that shouldn't have happened. But it did because of you. Quote, this contract should have been approved by the State Emergency Operations Center, a Whitmer spokesperson said by email. This issue is being corrected, and a different vendor and software platform will be selected by the SEOC. The state is committed to ensuring this important tracing work can begin quickly to help save lives, while also ensuring that public health data is safe and secure. The governor's office separately told the Washington Post, the executive office is uncomfortable with this vendor for the same reason others are. Yeah, because it looks bad. Everybody's mad because it looks really bad, and now they are too. The public needs to have confidence that this tracing work is being done by a nonpartisan firm. The state is committed to ensuring this important tracing work can begin quickly to help save lives, while also ensuring that public health data is safe and secure. Kohlhaas Strategies appears in contract tracing testing materials obtained by Fox News. While the governor's office indicated the firm hadn't yet begun work, there was little doubt that Kohlhaas and NGP Van were no strangers to the Whitmer administration before they secured contracts. Kohlhaas also runs Kohlhaas Strategies, which openly advocates on behalf of progressive candidates. In other social media posts, including one on April 1st, he has praised Whitmer and called Trump a maniac. We stand with that woman, and her name is Governor Whitmer, Kohlhaas wrote on March 30th. Kohlhaas has since locked down his Facebook account, and he did not respond to Fox News' request for comment. Okay, this is about good. Let's see. Whitmer was facing at least 2 federal lawsuits challenging her April 9th executive order to combat the coronavirus pandemic. In the complaints filed last week, several Michiganders, really? Several, shouldn't it be Michiganites or Michiganonians or something? Michiganas said the governor's recent tightening of restrictions infringed on their constitutional rights. Whitmer's April 9th order prohibited people in her state from visiting family or friends in groups of any size, in public or private. It also placed restrictions on what type of businesses may operate and restricted essential businesses from selling non-essential items. This one is doubly egregious in my opinion. It also banned travel to second homes and vacation properties. So anyway, so that's what I was. One of the things I wanted to really hit on here is it's political, and they are infringing your rights. They are stopping you from doing the things you want to do, and they may not have the power to actually do it. And that, what is this? Anyway, that is... I lost my train of thought. Stop interrupting me. It's not you guys. It's not you. I love you. I love you. No, it's this thing. This cursed demon phone in my hand. All right. Frostbeard 2 says, well, RIP Alaskan economy. Oil industry? Oof. Tourism? Ha! Commercial fishing? Meh. But worst of all, I'm becoming even more libertarian, and now I'm agreeing with the defense attorney in central Minnesota. Time to uncork a bottle and try this Duke bourbon. Hey man, things could be worse. You could be stuck with America bourbon. But the Duke will not treat you wrong. Feel Good Always 990 says, Whitmer next Clinton. Wait, is that you saying Whitmer next Clinton? Like as in Will she be Epsteined? Or are you saying that Whitmer is the next Clinton? It goes both ways. Very mysterious. Very mysterious. All right. Let's take a look at this complaint here. We'll see what they did. We'll see what they did. This was sent to me by a friend. And he said I should take a look at it. So I'm dry reading it with you guys. I would rather have military special than America Bourbon, which is maybe the worst thing you could say about America Bourbon. Introduction. All political power in the state of Michigan is inherent in the people. Constitution 1963, Article 1, Section 1. So that's the state constitution. Through the Michigan Constitution of 1963, the people of the state of Michigan both established the architecture of and set limitations on their government. These confines are absolute, inviolable, and without exception. The powers of government are divided into three branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. No person exercising powers of one branch shall exercise powers properly belonging to another branch, except as expressly provided by the Constitution. That's Constitution of 1963, Article 3, Section 2. In response to an outbreak of COVID-19 within the state of Michigan, defendant has unilaterally made spending appropriations, suspended and or modified legislatively enacted statutes, and seriously infringed upon basic individual liberties and property rights guaranteed by both the state and federal constitutions through a series of executive orders beginning on March 10th, 2020. So Michigan is relying not on the sort of abstract theories that I talk about with freedom and liberty, which is enshrined in the federal constitution. Like, I'm recognizing that in many states, some of these governors have emergency powers given to them by the legislature or by the constitution of the state or whatever that would allow them to take some actions that are extraordinary. What I suggest is that the minimum guarantees of the federal constitution do not disappear because of a pandemic. Now, they may change how the strict scrutiny or intermediate scrutiny applications of the law to infringe upon our rights, they may change that calculus, and they may ultimately determine that some of the invasions into our liberty are permissible based on the specific actions. But we have a set of guidelines that the Supreme Court actually uses to determine when that's in place. Michigan flat out says that their constitution does not allow the governor to do this. That's what this lawsuit's alleging. Not based on the minimum bar of the federal constitution, but based on the more restrictive as to government Michigan constitution. Now, here's how constitutional rights or individual rights play out. Your state constitution can be whatever the state wants. But if it is less protective of you than the federal constitution, then the federal constitution takes over through the 14th Amendment. So if the state says you have no right in the constitution, the state constitution says you have no right to the free exercise of religion in this state, the federal constitution still guarantees that you have the right to free exercise of your religion. And there's nothing the state can do against that. They can't do anything. That's the minimum bar as long as that state is in the United States. However, if the state constitution says the opposite and says not only do you have the right to the free exercise of your religion, but Michigan will specifically protect 1 day off of work per week guaranteed as a religious day of observation. For all religions, no matter what day it is, that you're guaranteed 1 day off and you cannot be worked 7 days a week without your consent from an employer, and you can't be fired for it. If Michigan wanted to further protect and enshrine that religious protection in their constitution, so long as that protection was equally applied to all people of all faiths, they could actually do that, because that would be more restrictive on on the government. I guess, yeah, it would be an expansion of the right to free exercise, if that makes sense. That's probably a bad example, but it's an easy one to kind of illustrate in my head right now. So they can actually do that. They can have a more expansive protection. Michigan is relying on its more expansive protections and more restrictive provisions on their own state government in the Constitution in this lawsuit. That's what's going on. In a response to an outbreak of COVID-19 within the state of Michigan, defendant has unilaterally... Didn't I read this? No. Yeah, I did. Sorry. However well-intentioned and prudent, these measures are inconsistent with our unique form of government and the liability to the Treasury arising from mass deprivations of liberty and property will be so staggering as to be almost incomprehensible. There's simply no pandemic exception under the state and federal constitutions. But these deprivations will be addressed on a case-by-case through a rapidly mounting number of civil rights lawsuits. This complaint, on the other hand, presents the primal question: does defendant have constitutional authority to be doing any of this? For the reasons discussed below, plaintiff alleges that she does not. Okay, so the defendant is Gretchen Whitmer, is the duly elected governor of the state of Michigan. Plaintiff Michigan United for Liberty is a nonprofit corporation formed and existing under the laws in the state of Michigan. Plaintiff was organized and formed shortly following defendant's issuance of Executive Order number 2020-21, more commonly known as the first stay-at-home order, for the purpose of advocating against the unconstitutionality of that and like orders within the state of Michigan. Plaintiff's membership body is comprised of nearly 8,000 persons and entities. Jurisdiction. This court, Michigan Court of Claims, has exclusive jurisdiction to hear any and determine any claim or demand, statutory or constitutional, liquidated or unliquidated, ex contractu or ex delicto, or any demand for monetary, equitable, or declaratory relief, or any demand for an extraordinary writ against the state or any of its departments or officers, notwithstanding another law that confers jurisdiction of the case in the circuit court, and that's MCL 600.6419. This complaint presents such a claim, namely, plaintiff seeks a declaration that defendant's actions are unconstitutional in that she's exceeding the legal authority granted to her under Article 5 of the Michigan Constitution of 1963, and 2, the Emergency Management Act, MCL 30.4401 at SEC, and Emergency Powers of Governors Act, MCL 10.31 at SEC, are an impermissible delegation of legislative authority by the Michigan legislature. Okay, so breaking that down, because it's thick wording. The Michigan legislature has passed 2 acts which give the governor the temporary emergency powers. This lawsuit is suggesting that those 2 acts, the grants of emergency powers, are unconstitutional. They violate Section 5 of the... is it Section 5, I think they said? Or Article 5 of the Michigan Constitution. And that's it's a separation of powers that they mentioned above. That no branch can act with the authority of the other branch. They can't do it in Michigan. That was covered up here. They'll get back to it in a minute. Just a second. I need some Highland Park. Have a little bit of scotch. Would you like a little scotch in you? Okay. Oh, reading too fast. The Pie Baker says, it's days like these that make me miss my old karate instructor. He was always full of practical advice that apply to everyday situations like, if you can't beat them off, beat off with them. A toast for when you get out of jail, Master Bates. Ace Brain 2003 says, hey Nick, I got a YouTube recommended video of Slowpoke Rodriguez clip. I've never searched for anything related to it before, so the only way it would happen is because you mention it in your streams when I watch. YouTube algorithms creepy AF. Well, I hope they appreciate the reference. Felipe Move says, hi, Nick, off topic. Yesterday, with great disappointment, I saw your terrible skills with Doom, and you didn't read any of my "you suck" comments. Sorry, pal. I was trying to play Doom. Okay. So standing, plaintiff must have standing to sue, meaning that the plaintiff's interest in the issue presented is sufficient to ensure sincere and vigorous advocacy. As well established under Michigan law that a nonprofit corporation has standing to advocate interests of its members where the members themselves have a sufficient stake or have sufficiently adverse and real interest to a defendant in the matter being litigated. They left out a T on defendant. The rights, privileges, and interests of all residents of the state of Michigan are being directly violated, suspended, and injured by a series of unconstitutional executive orders issued by defendant. A substantial portion of plaintiff's membership currently reside within the state of Michigan and thus have actual injury. Plaintiff, therefore, has standing to bring this suit. All right, on to the allegations. On March 10th, 2020, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services identified 2 presumptive cases of COVID-19 within the state of Michigan. COVID-19, which is also often referred to as coronavirus, bat soup virus, bat fried rice results, is a novel respiratory disease. The Wu flu, the Wuhan flu, the Kung flu, the Koof. Although there is not as of yet scientific consensus, it has been widely speculated that COVID-19 may cause serious illness and death at rates higher than other widespread viruses, such as influenza, particularly in old folks and infirm populations. So the elderly and the erectile dysfunctional, that would be infirm. That was a joke. Lung pow sicken? Come on! No! Stop that! Stop it! It's the novel coronavirus because it's the new COVID virus. COVID-19, this strand is novel. It's not one of the existing or other strands of coronavirus. It's the novel one. It's the one we haven't encountered before. That's what they mean by novel. As of April 16, 2020, mass statewide testing has fortunately only confirmed COVID-19 infections in 0.3% of the state of Michigan's population. In the days leading up to the date of this complaint, defendant has publicly stated that infection rates have either peaked or plateaued based on her available evidence. Unclear is what her evidence actually is. Defendant has purported to unilaterally limit to the point of effectively suspending governmental transparency laws. So they're immediately coming out and attacking the governor's data, saying that we can't verify the data. Footnote says total infection numbers are published daily by the state of Michigan at michigan.gov/coronachan. The United States Census Bureau's most recent estimate places Michigan's population at 9,986,857 persons. It is against this factual backdrop that defendants I would have said it is, not it's. You shouldn't use contractions in a legal document if you can avoid it. Minor criticism. It's against this factual backdrop that defendant declared a state of emergency on March 10, 2020, for the purpose of invoking legislatively delegated authority under the Emergency Management Act, or EMA, and the Emergency Powers of Governor Act, which is EPGA. I made that up. From the date of that declaration, defendant has so far issued 48 executive orders pursuant to those acts. These orders, which are often vague, are further supplemented by an ever-changing frequently asked questions section on defendant's website, which she also claims to have the full force and effect of law. So not only are you supposed to be familiar with the order and follow it, and by the way, I know someone today who was confronted with this in Minnesota, where yesterday our beloved Governor Walz, who is a little Stalin, Walz issued a new executive order banning something completely asinine. Just newly banned thing. And then someone I know is out doing the thing, and they're like, oh yeah, this is a banned activity, so you need to stop right now. Like, wait, it wasn't banned the other day, but it's banned now. Wait, what? The activity is camping. Camping. So the governor of Minnesota has banned camping. Now, I want to just briefly sidetrack that gatherings are already unlawful. So if you are going to a campsite to gather with other people, already unlawful, right? So it's not like they're trying to shut down this rash of campsite gathering orgies that are happening where everybody's getting the coof. That's not happening. They just decided that there is no. So even if you are camping, and by camping, it's like you're bringing an RV to a campsite with just your household in it, that's illegal now. Because airborne, Nick, airborne. Yeah, you are more at risk going to Walmart than you are camping with your own family. These restrictions are arbitrary and capricious. They don't make any sense. There's nothing about banning I don't know if you know this, but there aren't a bunch of people at the campgrounds already. It's not like these are full. But you are much more at risk going in a gas station, a Walmart with 200 other people who have all licked the same pad you put your PIN number on. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Anyway. Okay. Going back to it. But the point is that your average person out there isn't always able to keep up with the executive order brigade of the governor. Because and if you don't think that this has a political motive as well, let me point you to this again. The defendant has so far issued 48 executive orders in 1 month. And, 1 month and 12 days. They've issued 48 executive orders. That's an order a day. Almost. No, it's more than an order a day that they've done. And directing you constantly to the governor's website. What is that? It's an election year. Hey, if you want to know how much I'm doing for your public safety, just go visit my frequently asked questions site every day. If you don't, you might get fined for being a criminal. But if you just follow along with me, by the way, I'm running for re-election, or I might be trying to win the vice presidency, or whatever it is. Just remember, when is Michigan's governor election year? Okay, so theirs is 2022. So it's a little bit less nefarious, unless she's in the mix for vice president, of course. But it's not just her state that's doing it, right? These guys are directing you to it's free advertising. Yes, Alex, your friend. I'm saying he banned camping to win an election. No, you fucking dummy. They're issuing executive orders and having daily press briefings in election years for many of these people. What do you think they're doing? They're getting themselves in front of you. They're forcing you to look to their web pages, to their information, to find out how you don't get fined. So you have to expose yourself to them. You have to expose your attention in an election year to a politician. Of course they're doing this in this way. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, back to it. These orders, which are often vague, are for I read that. Count 1. Declare defendant's only legislative authority is that specified in Section 6, Article 3 of the Michigan Constitution of 1963. This court has jurisdiction and power to declare the rights and other legal relations of an interested party seeking a declaratory judgment, as plaintiff does here, whether or not other relief is or could be sought or granted. As a legal basis for her authority to issue orders having the effect of law, defendant expressly cites Section 6, Article 5 of the Michigan Constitution of 1963, which states in full, except to the extent limited or abrogated by Article 5, Section 2, or Article 4, Section 6, the executive power is vested in the governor. So here they're focusing on this. Obviously, there are limiting factors in the Constitution, and then every other executive power is vested in a governor. This tracks with the U.S. Constitution's vesting of the executive power in a president of the United States, subject to the other limits. Actually, no. The federal Constitution is different. Hold on. It's Article 2, Section 1. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the vice president chosen the same term, be elected as follows. That's it. The executive power shall be vested in a president. I've talked about this before. The U.S. president is actually more like a king than we like to admit. And Trump and other presidents probably have more authority than we would otherwise be comfortable with them having. But they've chosen, and literally it's a choice, and as a reference for why I say it's a choice, see FDR. When FDR chose the opposite of what most presidents have done, he won all the time because the president has a massive amount of authority. But the executive power vested in the president in the U.S. Constitution is not limited or abrogated by the other articles 1 and 3, which would be the legislative and judicial branches. In fact, the limiting clause is on the legislature in the U.S. Constitution, which says that the legislative power shall be vested in a House of Representatives and Senate, except as limited by this document or whatever. So in Michigan, they do have an extra limiting clause on the executive branch. Section 6, Article 5 of the Michigan Constitution of 1963 does not confer upon the defendant the authority to enact law. To the contrary, the power to enact law is solely vested with the legislature. Constitution 1963, Article 4, Section 1. There are only two exceptions. 1, the Independent Redistricting Commission has limited legislative power to enact a redistricting plan. And 2, the governor has limited legislative power to enact changes in the organization of the executive branch. So, Constitution 1963, Article 4, Section 6, and Article 5, Section 2. It should therefore be declared that Section 6, Article 5 of the Michigan Constitution of 1963 does not independently authorize defendant to promulgate orders having the full force and effect of law. And I want to be pretty clear on this. This is relatively unique to Michigan, that they have such a restrictive clause on their executive branch. I don't think Minnesota has the same restrictions, but I don't actually care too much about Minnesota constitutional law. It doesn't run into much of my practice, so I'm not off the top of my head familiar with it. Okay, count 2. Declare the Emergency Management Act to be an unconstitutional delegation of authority to the governor. As a legal basis for authority to issue orders having the effect of law, defendant expressly cites the Emergency Management Act. The Emergency Management Act grants defendant the authority to issue executive orders, proclamations, and directives having the force and effect of law upon her declaring a state of emergency. The act does not require defendant to obtain legislative approval prior to declaring a state of emergency, nor does it allow legislature to control, limit, or revoke her authority within the first 28 days declaring such an emergency. Defendant's authority under the act may be extended by resolution of the legislature. Or after the expiration of 28 days, defendant's authority may be extended by resolution of the legislature. The Michigan Constitution of 1963 codifies the separation of powers doctrine and divides the government into three branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. Constitution 1963, Article 3, Section 2. I'm going to just start reading the article and section. State Constitution further states, quote, no person exercising powers of one branch shall exercise powers properly belonging to another branch, except as expressly provided. The legislature may not delegate its constitutionally prescribed powers to the executive branch. The legislature may, however, delegate a task to the executive branch if it provides sufficient standards. Taylor v. Gate Pharmaceuticals. And this is similar to how the U.S. does this. The U.S. legislature has obviously delegated a massive amount of rulemaking power to the executive branch. You've got the Department of Education. You've got the Environmental Protection Agency. You've got all of those things. And they have not tasks. They have directives. Right? So the EPA's directive is derived from the Clean Air Act. And the Clean Air Act says that the executive branch will create a rulemaking body of the EPA to go ahead and follow the directives of the Clean Air Act. Now, it's not some specific task, but it's a clearly articulated directive. That's the federal Constitution and the federal delegation of authority under the Constitution. Michigan, in this, they're saying Michigan is different than that it's got a more restrictive set of rules on how they delegate authority. And they're saying that this is violating that. So they have to delegate a task if it provides sufficient standards. Legislature did not merely delegate some task with detailed policy guidance to defendant through the act. It has authorized her to act as dictator for a period of 28 days without limitation or countermand, or longer if it allows, as it has here. No less than 6 weeks ago, such an allegation would have been so theoretical as to seem absurd, but it is no longer theoretical. Defendant has, without any constitutional legislative authority, unilaterally, A, prohibited citizens from leaving their residences except for reasons expressly permitted by the defendant, modified and in many instances suspended public officials' required compliance with governmental transparency laws duly enacted by the legislature, suspended real property tax collection under the General Property Tax Act, suspended any business activity that requires a person to leave their home unless the activity has been deemed essential by defendant, prohibited citizens from associating with any person who is not a member of their immediate household or even being within a 6-foot radius of another person, terminated the educational school year, which was scheduled to end well past the termination of her authority under the Act, commanded non-compliance with the complex statutory scheme governing education, and set new educational standards and budgetary appropriations, set new standards governing medical professionals, and suspended compliance with legislatively enacted standards. So again, hitting on the fact that the governor is going against the law. Like, the legislature has worked out laws and the governor is voiding them well beyond her authority to even do so as a temporary measure with the school year, right? Like, the idea that she has canceled the school year past when she would presumptively have the power to do so. She's already done it. Abrogated and suspended portions of the Income Tax Act. And this is just a small sampling of the vast and unchecked power assumed by defendant over the affairs of law and laws of this state. It should therefore be declared that the Emergency Management Act is an unconstitutional delegation of legislative power to the defendant. Count 3. Declare the Emergency Powers of Governor Act to be an unconstitutional delegation of authority to the governor. Let's see. I'm out of tea. I'm out of tea. All right. As a legal basis for her authority to issue orders having the effect of law, defendant express cites to the Emergency Powers of Governor Act. The Emergency Powers of Governor Act grants defendant the authority to promulgate reasonable orders, rules, and regulations upon her proclamation of a state of emergency. Apart from condition that orders be reasonable, a term that is not defined, there's no limitation or oversight on defendant's apparent authority to enact law under the Act. Unlike the Emergency Management Act, defendant's authority to act Emergency Powers of Governor Act is apparently without time limitation. It only ceases when she, in her own discretion, declares that the emergency no longer exists. But like the Emergency Management Act, the legislature has handed defendant a blank check to legislate, so to speak, through the act, and declared that failure to follow her commands, whatever they may ultimately be, is criminal. The act is unconstitutional delegation of legislative authority by the legislature, as it has granted defendant limitless and standardless discretion to create law. It should therefore be declared that the Emergency Powers of Governors Act is an unconstitutional delegation of legislative power to the government. So same thing, kind of toned down. The difference between the two acts is one has to be renewed by the legislature every 28 days, which it has, I believe, done that because we're past 28 days. And then the other, which goes away when the governor says so. So the governor can declare a state of emergency without the approval of the legislature and then keep that state of emergency until the governor sees fit to rescind it without a check from the legislature built into the law. So this is an impermissible power. Because it grants lawmaking authority. This is what they're claiming. It grants lawmaking authority to someone other than the lawmaking body of the country. Conclusions and requests for relief. For over 200 years, a foundational bedrock of this nation's governance has been the separation of powers doctrine. The deconsolidation of power commanded by the doctrine provides the best chance of preserving individual liberty and property rights. While defendants' intentions may be pure, that's charitable, this level of unilateral control is entirely inconsistent with our constitutional system of government, even if it seems necessary. Within our constitutional framework, the state and nation has successfully weathered every storm in its history. There's simply no lawful or practical reason to discard it now. You notice this is a speech, right? This is a political speech going on in this complaint here. The judiciary must place the executive and legislative branches of our government back within their respective constitutional confines by declaring that they're unconstitutional. That's it. They're not going for money here or anything like that. Here's the attorney verifications. They're not after money. They're just after declarations that these are unconstitutional acts. Now, the reality of this is it will probably not even be heard until the virus until the restrictions are lifted. Although the questions will not be moot, or they shouldn't be moot, because they've already stated that they may get resurgences, and the exact same restrictions could theoretically go in place at any time over the next forever, because COVID isn't going away. Viruses don't just disappear. So, at any time that there's a resurgence of cases, they could go ahead and just do this again. So the court will have to at least consider it. Now, as for their chances, I'm a pessimist on separation of powers. I really am. At the federal level, we have allowed the government to delegate its authority to whatever branch it wants for pretty much anything, no matter what. The text of their constitution seems to have a stronger protection for separation of powers than the federal government does. So maybe that'll matter. I don't know. It's pretty interesting, though. It's an interesting lawsuit. It's a unique situation in the state there. And I'm very, very curious how it's going to turn out. Okay. I think that's enough of me complaining about random little mini tyrants during COVID. So I'm going to I got to go refill this tea, and then we will do Ace Attorney. So I'll be back in just a second. Chair Coon will keep you company. I just went and got the jug. All right. All right, all right. Here we go. Ugh. Ugh. You got to get the little droplets. You got to get the little droplets. I got you addicted to Milos. I'm sorry. Sorry. I hate the jug. I don't like pouring my little cup of tea all the time. Okay. Where were we? Oh, yes. Ace Attorney. Dear God. Where is it? There it is. Oh, this game. I'm telling you. Loading content. This is... You know what would be worse than any executive order issued so far? The executive order forcing me to play Ace Attorney would be worse. Final day, trial. Oh boy. This is the end of this case. I've heard that there's another case that's even longer than this. And I don't think I can do it. Yeah, I know Missouri is suing China. Let me cover that real quick. Gangio says Missouri is officially suing China. Would you be interested in looking at that? And as a resident, is there any way I could assist if you are? I'm not super interested in it because there's basically no way that Missouri wins a damages award from China. Because the federal government will invalidate whatever award is won. They'll just say, nope. And they can. They have the power to do that. They won't do it. Let me run a hypothetical by you. China owns a huge amount of US debt. Missouri sues China. China says, Missouri asshole. And they, let's say they lose the suit. And Missouri's like, haha, we get to collect $11 bajillion from China, right? China says, no, we're not going to pay it. And they call the notes that they hold on U.S. government debt. They just call them. They say, okay, pay up, U.S. Suddenly, we're what? Are we going to go to war over that? Because that's what happens when we don't pay China the multiple trillions of dollars of debt that they hold. Because we can't just pay it. We don't have the money. So what do? Do we go to war with them? Because Missouri sued China? No. U.S. will step in and invalidate any award that suit gets. Hands down. We invalidated an award against Iran. We invalidated that. You think, and they're not even a massive trading partner like China is, and they're much less intimidating on the whole war front. You think we're going to let an award against China stand? Of course not. Another thing is there's a possibility that the U.S. could try to negotiate out some of that debt with China as a result of the coronavirus. And if we're allowing individual citizens and states to sue China for damages, there's no way we're going to be able to leverage anything in that negotiation. China won't come to the table. So it's just not going to happen. It's too much of an impact on a major foreign relation to see any sort of result from that. So, all right. This is it, Judgment Day. Today, things are going to get settled at last. A lot of things. What's the big idea? Sorry, Nick. I don't get... What, did I get electrocuted or something? I only touched your shoulder. Oh, she's got the electric touch going already. That's not good. I guess the shock hasn't worn off from my run-in with the stun gun yesterday. Anyhow, today's the last day of the trial. Good luck, Nick. Yeah. Thanks, Maya. Edgeworth is looking glum as always. I hope Von Karma doesn't push him too hard. What are you doing? Sorry. I'm sorry. I just thought I'd cheer you up with a pat on the back. Maya, maybe you should go outside and discharge. Come on! Right. Good idea. Try not to electrocute anyone on your way out. Yeah, pal! Oh, that was Gumshoe. What's gotten into that girl? Detective Gumshoe. Morning, Mr. Edgeworth. Good morning. How did it go, Detective? Have no fear. As promised, I've captured our runaway caretaker. I just brought him in. Took all night, pal. Thanks, Detective Gumshoe. You must be tired. Actually, after that shock I got on the way in, feel pretty good. Yogi says he's forgotten his own name. But that has to be a lie. Why would he want revenge on Edgeworth if he couldn't remember his past? He does remember, and I'm going to prove it. Hmm. Gotta have a gavel. Oh. I overdid it. I over hammered the desk. And the mic cut out for a second. We're back now.
Trial of Miles Edgeworth.
You're on the 6th game? You have played 6 of these? The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready.
Right. Very well. We've reached the final day of our proceedings in this trial. I ask that the prosecution submit decisive evidence.
Understood. Karma has changed. Come on, don't be awed into silence by every little thing he says.
Very well, Mr. Von Karma, your opening statement.
Right. Thanks to Detective Gumshoe's efforts, the boat rental shop caretaker has been arrested. In yesterday's trial, the defense asserted that the caretaker was the murderer. However, the caretaker has yet to confirm this. I would like to ask the defense to cross-examine him as much as necessary.
Very well. Please bring the witness into the courtroom.
Susie Lou purged her Patreon, huh? Ladies and gentlemen of the court. I believe you all remember our witness. He lives in the boat rental shop on the lake, from where he witnessed the incident. In addition, he has currently lost memory of his name and identity.
Witness? Why did you run away yesterday?
Objection! The witness was not running away, as he will now testify.
I see. Very well, please begin your testimony.
That is so disgusting. A giant snot bubble pops. Why did the Japanese do this? Oh, is this Keanu Reeves? Can someone remind me, is this a Keanu Reeves voice? Master Roshi's dead, and I can't sully his memory by trying to do his voice. I mean, the American one isn't, but I haven't listened to Roshi recently enough. It was not Master Roshi, you liar. I know it wasn't. I'm really sorry about just leaving yesterday like I did, but I wasn't running away or nothing. I went to buy some food for Polly, see? I figured I got nothing to do with this incident anyhow. I mean, I'd need one of those motive things, right? I don't got one. So my testimony yesterday stands as is.
Very well.
Harry Butts with Keanu? No.
Let's begin the cross-examination, shall we?
He has to know his name. Yanni Yogi. You're Yanni Yogi, and I'm gonna prove it. Yanni? Okay. Well, we'll press it. I'm not gonna read all of these again. I mean, I already read them. Hold it! I'd call what you did running away and not just leaving. You heard Larry's testimony and realized you were in danger. Now, Mr. Wright, there's no need to rush to conclusions. As I said, the witness was not running away. Listen to the testimony. He sure seems relaxed. In fact, they both do. Von Karma and Yanni Yogi. Wait. I'm gonna hold it on all of them. Yeah, I'll take it. Take it. Then why did you leave? He's just about to say why! Is it so hard for you to just quietly listen when someone is talking? Yes. I sat quietly. Edgeworth would be guilty in 3 minutes. Hold it! Food. Well, Polly's a bit of a gourmand, you see. She only eats these high-quality bird pellets from France. They only have them in the big pet shop downtown. You weren't arrested until this morning. Why didn't you go back to the caretaker's shack? Well, I kinda got lost, you see? The witness has trouble remembering things sometimes. When the police apprehended him, he was on his way back to the shack. Yeah, right. Nice try, Von Karma. No one's going to believe that.
I see. So he was lost.
Please, Your Honor, come to your senses. Hold it! You've lost much of your memory. Is that correct? Yup. Seems like it. Then how could you know that you didn't have anything to do with this incident? Or maybe you're lying about not having your memory. You know exactly who you are!
Objection.
The witness has testified quite clearly that he has no memory of who he is. You claim he's lying? Then show the court proof! How am I supposed to prove what's going on in that old codger's head? I forgot what I had here. Time of death. File in the DL6 incident, photograph of the murder. Still bears clear ballistic markings. Okay. Alright. Show him your badge. No way, that gives me strikes! It's impossible. I'm glad you've come to your senses, Mr. Wright. Very well, witness. Please continue. I mean, I'd need one of those motive things, right? And I don't got one. Oh, I'm not supposed to read this. I'm sorry. I'll go back to San Dimas. How can you say you had no motive? I say you do. You had a grudge against Edgeworth and the victim, Robert Hammond. That's why you took revenge on them, right?
Objection.
Please don't make me repeat myself, Mr. Wright. This witness has no memory of anything beyond several years ago. He can't hold a grudge. It's impossible. I have to prove he's lying about his memory. Otherwise, it's going to be this same thing over and over until the trial ends.
Might I say something, Mr. Wright?
No. Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
You've been saying the same thing now over and over. You've been calling the witness's memory of the past or lack thereof into question. You're using him as a witness and he can't remember his own damn name! But does this really have anything to do with the current case?
Of course, Your Honor. The witness has said he has nothing to do with this case and no motive. Boom! Both of those statements are lies!
Order! Order! Mr. Wright, there is a serious problem with your claim. Or are you saying you know who this witness is?
Of course, Your Honor. Ho ho ho! Now this is interesting. I would like to know myself. So, who is he? Don't play dumb, Von Karma.
Mr. Wright, please tell us this witness's name.
His name is Yanni Yogi, a former court bailiff. They don't have records?
Yogi? That name seems familiar. Oh! Yanni Yogi from the DL6 incident.
Figures a judge would have heard of it. It was such a famous case.
But what does this mean?
Your Honor, if this man is Mr. Yogi, then he has a clear motive. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Jumping to conclusions again, Mr. Wright. This man, this witness is Yanni Yogi? Fascinating. However, how do you propose to prove this to the court? This is a court of law, as you may recall. You need proof. And allow me to repeat once more that the witness has lost his memory. This is it. I have to do this now. If I can't prove he's Yogi right here, right now, and I've got nowhere else to go. Nick! I thought she was outside discharging. How are you going to prove it? How can you prove that he's Yanni Yogi? It's okay. It's actually quite simple. Your Honor, please take this man's fingerprints. Then we'll compare them to the fingerprints on file for Yanni Yogi 15 years ago.
I see. That makes sense.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. Huh? I'm so very, very sorry, Mr. Wright. Why? The witness has no fingerprints! What? What? No fingerprints? You see, before I worked as a caretaker, I worked at a chemical plant. I burned my fingers working with the stuff. Yup. What? What? Yogi, you sneak. You burned your fingerprints off to hide your past.
Well, if the witness has no fingerprints, I guess we will not be able to prove his identity.
Photos? Have they heard of a photo? There's no photos of this guy? Anybody alive at the time? No. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Well, what will you do, Mr. Wright? Seems that the case has been decided, no? No? Didn't prove Edward did it? No! I know what happened. I know everything. I just can't prove it. But no, I can't let it end like this. I can't lose. There has to be another way. There is no one who can testify as to who this witness is. No one! Nick, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna bring out the parrot! I didn't even consider that he might have erased his fingerprints. What do I do? Tisk, tisk, tisk. Well, Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to cross-examine his parrot for a little comic relief? Yeah, very funny. You're a sore winner, Von Karma. No, I want to do it. I can't. Okay, I can't actually. I just got to follow through. I don't want to accidentally miss it, right? Wait a second. Cross-examine his parrot? What is it, Nick? No. You're not going to... Your Honor, the defense would like to take Mr. Von Karma up on his proposal.
Take Mr. Von Karma up?
On my proposal? Exactly, Your Honor. I would like to cross-examine the witness's pet parrot.
Order! Order! Well, what do you think, Mr. Von Karma?
Need you even ask? This is a farce! I object! Wait a second! You were the one who suggested I cross-examine the parrot, Von Karma. I have a right to do as you suggested. Earth! 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 No, that's not a Mr. Satan voice. Well, if you're so desperate, then please, be my guest. Of course, should you go through with this, and nothing comes of it, then I hope you're ready for the consequences. Nick, this is crazy and exciting. Well, still want to go through with your little game? We're doing it. Let the parrot take the stand. I will cross-examine her. I will cross-examine her hard, Your Honor. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard! Von Karma's rigged every person's testimony, every piece of evidence. Except the parrot. She's my last chance. At least I think so.
Bailiff, bring in the parrot. That's quite a bird.
Okay, the judge needs to calm down.
Please tell us your name. Name! Witness is ignoring me.
Must hurt to be ignored by a bird. What voice do I do for the bird? I mean, I know I just normally do the standard issue parrot voice, I guess.
Very well. Witness. Who is your owner? Please, testify for us.
Gilbert Gottfried. Listen! Let's see. Ron Toye, okay. Hello, Squawk. I don't recall.
Certainly the most concise testimony we've had so far. Very well. Begin your cross-examination.
Right. Okay. Right. What are you going to do, Nick? I don't know. What do we do, Maya? Ask the parrot question. It answers questions. Hello, 17 and 0 squad. Hold it. Witness, you can't just say hello and expect us to get anywhere. I want you to testify. Maya, you talk to her. Right. What do I say? Maybe I should get her to say her name. Polly, what's your name? Polly, 17 and 0 squad.
Mr. Wright, I think we've established that this parrot is named Polly. Does this have anything to do with her owner's identity?
Yes, it does. Ha! Fascinating. You claim that the parrot's name will prove our owner's identity? Then show us this proof. Nick, don't you think you're taking the bluffing a little too far? I wasn't bluffing. You gotta establish who the parrot is first. Listen! Listen. We're not here to answer the question of who is the caretaker. We're here to prove that he is Yanni Yogi. All we have to do is tie the name Polly to Yogi. Your Honor, the proof that the parrot's name reveals the caretaker's identity is... Scheiße! I didn't think they'd make me, like, prove it. Oh, let's check this. Haha! Fiance Polly Jenkins! Take that!
The DL6 case file.
That's quite a large file you have there. Hey! Hey! First, you right. You right. But back off. Which page is this proof on then? Show us your large file, or stop wasting our time.
Very well, Mr. Wright, please show us a page where in this file is the information connected to this parrot's name.
What? I don't remember what... It's the, suspect data. That one. It's on the suspect data page. This page has all the information about Yanni Yogi. Right after he was arrested, his fiancée committed suicide, see?
Indeed, it does say that, yes.
What was his fiancée's name?
Polly Jenkins? Polly?
Exactly, Your Honor. He wanted to remember the name of his fiancée who had committed suicide. That's why he named his parrot after her.
I see. I guess that is possible.
A mere coincidence, that's all. My granddaughter has a dog she calls Phoenix. Well, Mr. Phoenix Wright, does that make you my granddaughter's fiancé?
Let's see some pictures, Von Karma.
She's only 7 years old. Oh, no! No! Phoenix, no! Don't do it! Take a seat.
Indeed. Alone, it is a little weak for evidence in a murder trial. We would need some other corroborating evidence.
Where am I going to find that? Nick, we're getting closer. One more. If we just get one more piece of evidence. Right. But what?
Very well, witness. You may continue.
Hold it! Witness, you're here to speak. You must speak to me. Speak to me, Polly. Frankly, I can't believe that you're speaking to the parrot. Well, I guess we should try to get some information out of her. We need to show the judge that her owner is Mr. Yogi. Hello, hello, squad! Maya, talk to her. Maybe I'll get her to say the number of that safe. Huh? The safe? Why? Let's just try to get her to say anything, okay? Holly, what was the number of the safe in the shack? 1228. Wait, 1228. 1228. 17 and 0.
My, what a reckless parrot. Well, Mr. Wright, you aren't claiming that the number has something to do with the caretaker.
I have no idea. Maybe let's check that case file again. Oh! The date of the thing was 1/12/28. Okay, that's easy. Actually, it does. That's why I had her say it. Ha! Ridiculous! How can the number to a safe tell us who the caretaker is? Show us your proof! What could possibly link this number to the caretaker's identity? Oops, this one. Take that! The DL6 case file? What is this obsession you have with that case?
Mr. Wright, where in this file is something relating to that safe number?
It's on the case summary page.
The case summary?
Specifically, the date on which the DL6 incident occurred.
The date of the incident? December 28th? Why, that's today's date, 15 years ago.
And the number on that safe is 12/28. Although, don't the Japanese do the day before the month?
Ah!
He used the date of the DL6 incident as the number for his safe, Your Honor. That's how important that date was to him.
I see. It certainly is an interesting coincidence. People often do set their secret numbers to dates.
Ah, that's not tangible proof. I set my ATM's card number to 0001 because I am number one. This has nothing to do with a date. Nothing.
That's enough.
I didn't not... Gundam responded to my tweet. Absinthe-minded. I talked to him on Twitter.
I think we've reached a conclusion here.
This is a mere coincidence, that's all.
True, that is a possibility. However, two coincidences at the same time seems more like a pattern to me.
What are you saying?
Summon the caretaker of the boat shop. Immediately! Witness, tell us your name.
Wait! This witness, he doesn't remember! No, it's okay.
I've accomplished what I wanted to do. I'm done.
Nick, he looks totally different. This is the real Yogi, I think. Finally. He's been acting feeble to hide his true identity. Acting for 15 years.
Well, let me ask you again. Please state your name for the court. My name is Yanni Yogi. 15 years ago, I served as a bailiff in this very court. Order! Order! Yanni Yogi? So was it you who killed Robert Hammond and tried to frame Miles Edgeworth for his death? Yes, it was me. I did it. They put me on the witness stand 15 years ago. Robert Hammond, he said, I was mentally unsound. He told me it would make me innocent, get me off the hook. So, I pretended to have brain damage. I was innocent, really, but he didn't believe me. We won the trial, but I lost everything. I lost my job, my fiancé, my social standing, my Diners Club card. Then, this year, 15 years later, a package arrived. It was a letter and a pistol. The plan was written out in careful detail. It was a plan for me to take my revenge on the people who ruined my life. I didn't care who had sent it. I thought this was my chance. After 15 years, this was it. Finally, a chance to have my revenge on Robert Hammond and Miles Edgeworth. I have no regrets! But wait a moment! Revenge? Against Miles Edgeworth? What do you mean? I'm not at liberty to speak on that matter. Why don't you ask Mr. Edgeworth yourself? Anyway, I admit it. I was the one who killed Robert Hammond. Bon Karma, where's Mr. Yogi?
What, did he ninja his way out? Under arrest, Your Honor. I saw no room for error in his confession.
Then the defendant, Miles Edgeworth, is...
innocent. In this case, at least.
Very well. Will the defendant please take the stand? There are a few mysteries left unsolved. Still, you are cleared of suspicion for this particular case.
They're very carefully wording that he's not out of his statute of limitations just yet, right?
So I would like to pass judgment on the murder of Mr. Robert Hammond. Any objections?
I don't believe it. Why isn't Von Karma saying anything?
Very well. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Miles Edgeworth, not guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned. Did someone just say objection?
Wasn't Von Karma. Wait, but that means no. Edgeworth.
Your Honor, I object to your judgment. What do you mean? I'm not innocent at all. As we have heard, Yanni Yogi killed Robert Hammond in revenge. But revenge for what?
Nick, Edgeworth is trying to confess. He's going to say he's guilty. He's going to tell them he was the murderer in the DL6 incident. He's going to tell them he killed his own dad. Uh-oh, what do I do? The judgment has already been passed. I object to Edgeworth's outburst. Didn't something like this happen yesterday, too? I believe a certain witness raised an objection after a guilty verdict was passed. That would be Larry. We must hear this new statement. We must hear Miles Edgeworth. I should have left it.
He's right. We have a duty to hear Mr. Edgeworth out. For 15 years, I've had a recurring dream. A nightmare. It's only a nightmare. That's what I told myself. But now I know it wasn't a dream. Yanni Yogi wasn't the killer. You mean in the incident where your father died? From the distance of the shot, it wasn't suicide either. Everything was as clear as day. The murderer, the criminal in the DL6 incident, it was me! Your Honor, I confess my guilt. I am guilty for DL6, the statute of limitations of which ends today. The culprit is me. Order! Order! This is certainly unexpected. The defendant declared innocent is confessing to a different crime. A crime for which the statute of limitations runs out today. Not really sure how I should deal with this.
Bah! It's obvious! We hold a trial right here, right now! We tried this man for his crime of 15 years ago!
I think I would like to take a 5-minute recess. During this time, I will consider the appropriate course of action to take. Court is adjourned.
Uh-oh. Is it... There we go.
I'm sorry, Wright. I've just wasted all of your effort.
Mr. Edgeworth, I just don't believe it, sir. I mean, you kill your dad?
I didn't want to believe it myself, Detective. But it's the truth. I deserve to be punished. Punish me, Daddy. Punish me, Detective Gumshoe. Oh, punish me hard. You're in that big, thick accent. Murder is murder, no matter what the circumstances.
I mean, not really, though. This is crazy. I can't. It's crazy. Just crazy. I don't know. That was a weird line. Nick, what are you doing?
Huh? Oh, I was just reading through the court record once more. Getting my case ready.
Your case? For what?
Huh? Isn't it obvious? I'm going to prove that Miles Edgeworth is innocent.
What are you talking about, pal? He just admitted to it. He confessed that he did it. In court.
I'm sorry, Edgeworth, but I don't believe your nightmare. What? It's just a dream. It's not real. The truth is right here in this court record. In any case, tighten your belts. The real fight is just beginning. I'll prove you're innocent. Trust me. Right. Daddy, no! Now then, I would like to resume our trial.
Judge, Miles Edgeworth has admitted his own guilt. He has confessed his crime. Let us begin by hearing his testimony. Then, though pointless, let the defense do their cross-examining. The statute of limitations on the DL6 incident runs out today. So it's unconventional for me. I'd like to run this one by the book. It's unconventional for me to do it right.
I see. Does the defense have any objections?
No, Your Honor.
Von Karma, you knew this was going to happen from the very beginning, didn't you? Very well. Will Miles Edgeworth take the stand?
Will the witness state his name and profession?
Miles Edgeworth. I'm a prosecuting attorney.
Mr. Edgeworth, 15 years ago, you mistakenly killed your father, Gregory Edgeworth. Is this correct?
It is correct.
Then testify about this matter to the court.
When Edgeworth was telling me about his dream yesterday, I noticed something. One detail didn't quite fit. That will be the key, but only if I can get it to work.
Please. Please. Where's my gavel? It's right here. Did I miss one? Oh, damn it.
That day, I'd gone to the courtroom to observe one of my father's trials. As we went to leave, an earthquake struck, trapping us in the elevator. My father and Mr. Yogi lost their composure, began to argue. Just then, something heavy fell at my feet. I picked it up and threw it at Mr. Yogi. I wanted them to stop fighting. A moment later, there was a single gunshot, then a scream. And it was a terrible scream. I remember it to this day. That's all. And until now, you thought this memory was a dream? We were stuck in that elevator for 5 hours. The oxygen in the elevator ran out and I lost my memory of the events.
Bah! The same claim Mr. Yogi has made.
Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor.
Hold it! What was a trial your father was involved in on that day?
I don't remember things very clearly. Only 2 things. I know my father lost, and Mr. Von Karma was the prosecuting attorney. Mr. Von Karma, you were handling that case?
It was 15 years ago. I don't remember the details.
That was when Edgeworth pointed out the problem in Von Karma's evidence. So there were 3 people, including yourself, trapped in that elevator. Yes. Myself, my father, and Yanni Yogi. We were fine at first. But then, as time passed and no one came to help...
Hold it!
What did you do then? I was a 9-year-old boy at the time. What could I do?
Basic math, crappy reading, probably.
I was scared, trembling in the corner.
Oh, or be a bitch, that's, I guess.
But then...
What was it?
A pistol. I assume it was the bailiff, Yanni Yogi's. The safety must have come off when it fell from his holster.
Yeah, that's how safeties work. Whoa! Safety's off! And you picked it up? What happened next?
Intimidator0108 says, Hey Nick, while it wasn't during tonight's stream, Timebeard Corvette got its first 2 wins. I was able to record them on my Xbox. I'll send a link to the second race soon, since they have more than 2 cars in the race, lol. I picked it up and threw it at Mr. Yogi. I wanted them to stop fighting.
Did you know it was a pistol when you threw it?
I think I knew. I knew it was dangerous. But the air was getting so thick, I panicked.
Is it airtight elevator? So you're saying that you threw the pistol at Mr. Yogi?
I was in a daze.
Oh! Look at that! It came from outside!
The gun fired once? Yes. I think, after I threw it, I lost consciousness.
Since then, they've echoed in my head every day. That gunshot and that horrible scream. The scream. To this day. Yes, I can practically hear it now. I doubt I will ever forget that scream as long as I live. There it is. One part of that testimony clearly contradicts the evidence. But I don't know what it means. I'd better find out and quick. I guess it's the oxygen depletion. The murder weapon was fired twice. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so it's the second one. That one. Victim data. Present that. Are you sure you only heard one gunshot? Yes, I'm sure of that. I heard the shot and the scream. Then everything faded. I was unconscious until the rescuers came.
I see.
No, Your Honor. Unfortunately, you don't. Look at this file one more time. This plainly contradicts the witness's testimony. You do enjoy dragging out that file, don't you? I don't accept this evidence unless you can tell us what page it's on. Which page contradicts Miles Edgeworth's testimony? There are three. There are 3 pages. Look at the victim data in this file. It says it quite plainly. The murder weapon was fired twice. Miles Edgeworth only heard 1 gunshot. Yet the murder weapon was fired twice. The first shot was the accidental firing when the pistol was thrown. So, who fired the remaining shot?
Was there perhaps another shooter who fired that second shot?
Your Honor, as I'm sure you're aware, this incident occurred 15 years ago. The evidence is dated. The pistol did fire twice. However, we do not know when that second shot was fired. Might have been fired the day before the incident. There's no proof that the second shot had anything to do with this incident. What?
I see. I see. You do have a point. Mr. Wright, the murder weapon was fired twice, as we have heard. One of those shots was fired by the defendant, a boy at the time.
No, it wasn't. He threw the gun. He didn't fire the weapon.
Do you have any proof that the other shot fired had something to do with the case?
Yeah. Your Honor, I think I will be able to show you proof. What? Impossible!
No, Mr. Von Karma, save your surprise for after you've seen the evidence. Very well, Mr. Wright, show us your proof. You have evidence that the second firing of the pistol is related to this incident.
Look at this photograph! Sorry.
This is a photograph of the scene of the crime 15 years ago. I can see that the victim lying there is Gregory Edgeworth.
This proves the murder weapon was fired twice at the time of the incident. This photo proves it.
So, let me get this straight. This photo proves 2 shots were fired where?
Your Honor, please! Please get a clue! Finger the hole, Phoenix. As should be obvious, the contradiction is here.
I see a bullet hole in the door.
Your Honor! Gregory Edgeworth was killed by a shot from the pistol. Yet there is also a bullet hole in the elevator door. We also know that the murder weapon was fired twice. Thus, someone other than Edgeworth fired that second shot.
Order! Order! Mr. Wright, what are you driving at?
It's simple, Your Honor. At the time of the incident, 2 shots were fired. One went into Gregory Edgeworth's heart. Why does he have to keep spelling this out? This is embarrassing. The other hit the elevator door. Remember that the defendant lost consciousness after the shot he fired rang out. In conclusion, we must agree that the second shot was fired by someone else.
Mr. Wright? But who could that someone else be?
The murderer, of course. I knew I should have stepped in before your wild fantasies got out of hand. Mr. Wright, look once more at the DL6 incident case file. Look closely. Try the case summary page. Case summary. That's on page 1. Okay. Look what is written there. Not a single clue is found on the scene. If the pistol had indeed been fired 2 times, then the other bullet would have been discovered on the scene.
He does have a point.
No, he doesn't. That second bullet was never been found. Why? Because the second bullet does not exist. The bullet that claimed Gregory Edgeworth's life was the one fired by his own son. That is the truth of this matter. The whole truth. It was undoubtedly something else that made that bullet hole in the door.
Order! I will have order. Mr. Wright has proven one thing to us quite clearly, that the murder weapon was fired twice at the time of the incident. However, as Mr. Von Karma says, the second bullet was not found. It is highly unlikely that the police merely overlooked the second bullet. So all we have is a single bullet fired. I'm afraid I have to discount this defense's claim.
What? Tisk, tisk, tisk. That doesn't make any sense. I praise the judge for his wisdom in this matter. Ah! How did this happen? I don't believe that the second bullet didn't exist. Was I wrong? Have I been wrong about this whole incident? What are you doing, Nick? Why aren't you raising an objection? Sorry, Maya. What? Looks like I was wrong. Really? Am I dumb? I might be dumb. Still bears clear ballistic markings. Nick? The second bullet wasn't there, then all my conjectures are for nothing. No. You said you'd do it, Nick. You said you'd get Edgeworth declared innocent. I'm sorry. It's just when I saw the photograph, I thought that 2 shots had been fired. They were, clearly. I was so certain of it. I thought I'd won. Thought there was another person. Someone else who fired the killing shot. But now, I was wrong to think it could be that simple. This case has stood unsolved for 15 years. Nick.
Well, it seems that we have finally cleared up this incident. Only 1 bullet was found at the scene of the crime. That shot was fired by Miles Edgeworth.
Precisely. I hate that I don't know when this game is gonna end the case on me. Can I present this? I don't know if I can do the metal detector.
I would like to ask one thing of Miles Edgeworth before passing my verdict. Have you been paying attention to the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. You have any objections? No. No, I do not. So you killed your father, though that was not your intention? Yes, I did.
Oh no. I can't present them. Okay. So I'm just making sure I can't actually present anything. He's accepted the guilt.
Very well. The statute of limitations on the murder of Gregory Edgeworth runs out today. Therefore, I must pronounce a verdict on the defendant today, right here.
Right now!
Indeed. Does anyone have any objections?
I've been here before. It's just like my first day in court. There's so many things I know I should be saying. My mind's gone blank. I can't find the words.
Mr. Wright?
Your Honor, I object. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Mr. Wright, on what grounds do you object? Oof. Nick? I don't know. His case is perfect. Oh no.
Ah!
It must exist.
Oh. Hello.
The second bullet. What? What did you just say? Nothing. Second bullet must exist. I can't. I hate that I can't present evidence yet. But where? Someone took it.
Seems waiting is not going to produce us any answers from Mr. Wright.
Wait, Your Honor. The second bullet. It existed.
What? But we've just heard proof that it did not exist.
You absolutely did not. Not even close. What the hell? I hate this game. I realize that, Your Honor. Really grasping here. It's just someone took it from the scene of the crime. That's what happened.
But who?
The murderer. The murderer? Then tell us just who is this murderer? I'm still thinking about that one. It's Von Karma.
So the criminal took the second bullet, but why?
Huh?
First of all, how would they have found it? It's not easy to find a stray bullet, Mr. Wright. Was there some pressing need for the murderer to search for that bullet?
Of course he had to find it. Of course there was a need. That's why they took it. What possible reason could they have had? Well, the reason the murderer took the bullet away from the scene with them is... maybe they thought that the bullet would be used as proof.
Proof?
It was a special bullet, so they took it with them. If that was the case, then they should have taken the bullet from inside Gregory as well. Huh? Why would they only take one of the 2 shots fired? Because reaching into someone's heart is difficult. Oh, right.
Mr. Wright, have you really thought this through? Going to have to penalize you.
What the fuck? Nah, this isn't going so well.
There's some pressing need for the murderer to search for that bullet.
He had to find it. Murderer was cautious. Well, the murderer was a very cautious sort, you see. That's why the murderer had to search for that bullet. That's the case, and they should have taken it. It's the same answer. I hate this fucking game. Penalize me? Better watch out, Judge. I'm gonna drop my pants and penalize you. Apparently not. He didn't need it. Bah! The murderer had no reason to take that bullet. You don't want to admit it, but it's true. Had to take it. Had to take it. The murderer. What does that mean? Thinking too normal. Think crazy. Don't think why the bullet was taken. Think why the bullet had to be taken.
Mr. Wright!
Yes, Your Honor. I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, the murderer had no intention of taking the bullet from the scene. But the murderer had to take that bullet. Oh, because he was shot too? Had to,
Mr. Wright? What do you mean?
Well, for instance what? Maybe the bullet, hit the murderer.
The bullet hit the murderer?
Just saying, for instance. I mean, if it hit you, you would have to take it with you, wouldn't you? It's not like you could perform surgery right there. You know? Wait a second. I was just talking off the top of my head, but what if that's really what happened?
Let me get this straight. So at the time of the murderer themselves was shot, and they left with the second bullet still inside them, thus leaving only one bullet at the scene of the crime.
Yeah. I guess that's how it would work, yes.
But there's a problem with that. The other 2 people rescued from the elevator, Miles Edgeworth and Yanni Yogi, were both unharmed. So that would mean...
The murderer came from outside, yes. The 2 men fight inside the elevator. Trying to stop them, the boy picks up the pistol at his feet and throws it. The pistol discharges, just like Maya outside. And the bullet goes through the elevator door and hits the murderer outside. The boy loses consciousness. Then the murderer opens the elevator door and sees the men inside. Grabs the gun that was already there.
Mr. Wright, you are truly the most unpredictable defense attorney I've ever known. I can tell you're grasping, yet I cannot deny the possibility of what you say.
What are you saying? Deny it! Deny it! No one involved with the incident was wounded. There was no murderer. No one was wounded at the time of the incident. He's right. I can't think of anyone. Hey, Nick. I just thought of something really crazy. Not now, Maya. Crazy? Well. Remember what Mr. Grossberg said yesterday?
Gregory Edgeworth dealt a blow to his perfect trial record.
Wow.
It must have been quite a shock for Von Karma. He took a vacation for several months after that, you see. Yes, an unusual event for the man.
That was the first and the last vacation he's taken in his many years of prosecuting. What if Von Karma didn't take that vacation because of shock, but took it because he was injured? Which would mean... Could only mean one thing. He was the murderer in the DL6 incident. He was the man who shot Gregory Edgeworth. It was Von Karma. Oh man.
Something wrong, Mr. Wright? You seem dazed.
No, Your Honor.
Well, you have indicated the possibility that the murderer came from outside. Can you give us the name of your suspect?
Uh-oh. Should I come out and say it now? Say it now! Your Honor, there is a suspect. One lone suspect.
Well, this is certainly interesting news. Very well, Mr. Wright. Who is your suspect?
My hands are shaking.
What?
Von Karma.
Von Karma? You mean the Von Karma, the prosecutor? The one standing right over there?
Bah!
You don't object?
I see no need. Why honor this? Why honor? This is ridiculous. Oh, why honor this ridiculous outburst with my objection? Because you took a vacation for several months, starting the day after the incident, yet you pride yourself on a perfect record. Why would you take such a long vacation without any reason? So you're claiming that I took a vacation to heal my injury from the incident? Fascinating. Prove it. I would have needed surgery, no? Where did I go under the knife at, Mr. Wright? Bring the doctor that operated on me. Have him testify. Metal detector that shoulder, bitch. Nick, let's find out who his doctor is.
It's no use.
Edgeworth.
I know Von Karma, perhaps too well. He's perfect. He wouldn't leave clues. He probably didn't undergo surgery. That would leave a doctor as a witness.
Nobody's that perfect. So what, Nick? Did Von Karma pull the bullet out by himself? That's insane. No, he couldn't have. You can't just pull bullets out of yourself. Watch me! Wait. What does that mean? That bullet has to be somewhere, but where? Tisk. Well, Mr. Wright. Can you produce evidence to prove that I was shot? All right, Von Karma, I'll prove it. And I'll even use evidence. I know how you like it so much. I know how you like it. What? The evidence that proves who Von Karma was shot is... Von Karma is perfect. He wouldn't risk surgery, leaving an evidence trail. So then I ask, where is that bullet now? I think it unlikely that Von Karma performed surgery on himself.
You don't mean...
I do. There is a possibility that the bullet is still inside Von Karma. We need a full body cavity search immediately.
Is that even possible for all these years?
Well, there's one way to find out. And it's a metal detector rigged for finding coins on a beach. We could use this metal detector. Well, Von Karma, I'm going to run this over you. All over you. I'm gonna run this metal detector all over you, Von Karma. And see what we find. I refuse.
You refuse? What refusing this means? You acknowledge that the bullet is still inside you? Order! Order! Order!
Your Honor, the defense requests that we be allowed to use the metal detector. And then the rubber gloves. And then... Judge, I call for a suspension of this trial. This is an invasion of privacy. The statute of limitations runs out on this case today. In the US, statute of limitations are when you bring charges, not not when you finish the case. It was you who said we had to end it right here, right now. There's no other place you want to be.
Enough! I permit the use of the metal detector. Mr. Von Karma, you will submit yourself to testing.
Nick, what does this mean? Are you dumb, Maya? I don't know, but we have to give it a shot. It reacted. Something's inside his right shoulder. The bullet. Mr. Von Karma?
You. It was you.
I was afraid this would happen. And so I remain silent. Indeed, there is a bullet in my shoulder. However, it has nothing to do with this incident. What? I was shot in the shoulder long before the DL6 incident. I claim that the bullet in my shoulder has no relation to DL6.
That?
Prove? I have no obligation to prove anything. It is Mr. Wright who must prove something here. Not I.
Mr. Wright? Well, can you prove it?
This is... You... In every other instance, you have to prove everything. Okay.
Can you prove that the bullet in Von Karma's shoulder was from DL6?
Of course he can't. You don't have any of the DL6 evidence. That's because you took it out of the records room yesterday. With no proof, you cannot convict me of any crime. So sorry, Mr. Wright. No, I'm the one who's sorry, Mr. Von Karma. What? You were close. 1 day away from freedom. But, you see, I have proof. What? Who would have thought you would dig your own grave trying to convict Edgeworth? I can link that bullet in your shoulder to the DL6 incident. And here's my... Oh, wait. And here's my final proof.
That's... a bullet?
Where did you get that? This is the bullet used in the DL6 incident. This was taken from the heart of the victim, Mr. Gregory Edgeworth. The bullet is preserved quite nicely with all the ballistic markings intact. Ballistic markings. You may recall the term. It came up in the first trial 2 days ago.
Ballistic markings are the fingerprints of a weapon. All bullets fired from a gun are marked with that weapon's unique pattern. By examining the markings, you can tell which weapon fired the bullet. It's quite accurate.
We have 2 bullets in our possession. One, the bullet removed from Gregory Edgeworth's heart. The other, Mr. Von Karma, is the bullet buried in your shoulder. What are you gonna do? Extract it from a field with a field knife before tomorrow? We could analyze both bullets. Then if the markings matched, we would know that both bullets had been fired from the same gun. The very same pistol. In other words, the murder weapon that killed Gregory Edgeworth. Mr. Von Karma, you will let us remove the bullet from your shoulder. Then we'll compare the ballistic markings to those on this bullet. and solve this case once and for all. Well, Mr. Von Karma. Did he pull it out himself?
That scream. I've heard that scream before. Wait. I know. Help! Help! I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
What's his dad sound like?
Quiet. I said quiet. You're not making this any easier.
Stop breathing my air! I'll stop you! Stop breathing my air!
Get away! Get away from my father!
Spartan Jeremy, the gun wasn't evidence, it was the bailiff's gun. The bailiff was not, it was his firearm that he used in his job.
It's that scream I heard in the elevator. 15 years ago. Von Karma, it was you who screamed. Like a bitch.
Mr. Von... Wait.
Mr. Von Karma?
Edgeworth! Only you would dare defy me!
So, it was you.
You and your father are my curse?
Yeah, kill yourself with the bash.
Your father shamed me with a penalty on my record. And you left a scar on my shoulders that would never fade. I'll bury you! I'll bury you with my bare hands! Chief Prosecutor, I am sorry. I am sorry.
Von Karma, it's not like... Von Karma, it's not like you to make this kind of error. Chief Prosecutor John Volney. I never would have thought that Edgeworth would be the one to catch you.
I was careless.
I'm sorry, but you will have to be penalized. I've covered you for you in the past, but not this time.
Edgeworth? It was a shock like none I've ever known. Me? Penalized? It took hours for me to regain my composure. Suddenly I found myself in the darkness. I was in the court records room. I must have wandered in there without thinking where I was going. The room was pitch black. The lights must have gone out. I went out into the hall and felt my way into the elevator. I pressed the button, but nothing happened. Then there was a noise. It was a pain. I was in pain. A horrible burning pain in my shoulder. Just then the lights came back on. The elevator door opened before my eyes. I saw 3 people inside, all lying unconscious from oxygen deprivation. Much to my surprise, a pistol lay at my feet. I knew then it was destiny.
Do you love black people?
In his last moments, Gregory Edgeworth was still unconscious. He died, never knowing who had shot him. Later, he spoke through a medium, blaming Mr. Yogi. He was fooled. I was the perfect crime. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Who would have thought another man would have come to open that elevator door? Judge!
What?
What are you doing? Do your job! Bring an end to this miserable charade! Please! For the love of God, end it! Now! End it!
Very well. It appears that we have come a very long way to the end of this maze. 15 years later, Mr. Miles Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor.
You were innocent. You are innocent. As you said, it was all a nightmare.
Yes, Your Honor.
This court finds the defendant, Mr. Miles Edgeworth, not guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned.
Wait, what? What? Find Von Karma guilty! Nick, we did it! Did you see his face? Von Karma looked even paler than usual. He's pretending to be all cool, but inside you crushed him, Nick. Crushed. I gotta say, I'm impressed. Heh, it was pretty close, though. I was sure we'd had it. I know. I was on the verge of tears the whole time myself. But now it's all just a good memory. So it's finally over, Edgeworth. Right. Yeah?
I'm not sure how to say this.
I know. Try. Thank you.
I see. Japanese emotions threatening to overtake me. Thank you, right?
You're welcome. I think you could have done better than that.
You're right. Right? Unzip your pants. Now I must do it.
Sorry, I'm not good at this sort of thing. You got a lot to learn, Edgeworth. She's got you there. Whoop! Amazing, pal. You pulled through just like I thought you would. I'll never forget this. I owe you one, pal. And tonight, let's party. Dinner's on me. Yeah, my salary went down a bit this month. But who cares? See, Mr. Edgeworth? You should take a lesson from Detective Gumshoe. That's how you say thank you.
I see. Whoop! I feel foolish.
Don't worry. Take it a little at a time. You'll get used to it. It's been 15 years since I've seen Edgeworth this unguarded. Hey, y'all. Lotta. Y'all were great in there. Thank you. Yo, Edgeworth. Congrats.
Thank you all very much.
I knew you were innocent from the start, of course. Just look at you. You wouldn't stick your hand in the cookie jar even if no one was there.
You were the witness on the first day of the trial, weren't you?
Yeah, well, let bygones be bygones, eh?
Speaking of which, what are you doing now, Lotta?
Who, me? Oh, I went back to college. I gave up trying to be an investigative photographer pretty quick.
Really? That's too bad.
Huh? Isn't that the hot dog guy from the park?
Huh? It's over, Nick. My life is over.
trying to do, I think it was Yamcha that I was using for him. Because I know I've swapped these around like 100 times. You know. Why the sad face, Larry? What happened now? Oh, Nick. I'm not long for this world. You don't look sick. It's Kianse. She's going to live in Paris. Paris, Nick. She's leaving me behind. Should have seen that coming. Yo, Edgy, there you are.
Yes. Here I am.
Congrats, Edgy. Here, a little gift from me in celebration.
Celebration? That's unusual for you.
Harry Butts, you come along tonight too. My treat, pal. Huh? Oh, thanks. Looking forward to it. Yo, Nick. That's the suit that questioned me. When he says treat, that's not police talk for prison food, right? Right? I think you'll be fine, Larry.
Right.
Yeah? What's up?
That envelope that Larry gave me. It's got money in it.
Well, yeah. That's not that strange. People give money away to celebrate sometimes.
It's $38, right?
Huh? What a weird amount. I mean, it's not a little, but it's not a lot either. $38 exactly? Nick! Wasn't that exactly the amount of lunch money that was stolen from Mr. Edgeworth in school? 38. No. No, Larry, it was you?
What are you so surprised about, right?
Huh?
Larry was absent that day from school, right? But that doesn't automatically rule him out as a suspect.
What?
Think back to that day, 15 years ago. Larry took the day off, but he was bored, so he came into school anyway. Then he saw the money lying there, and the rest is history.
I never was good at history.
Edgeworth, you didn't know, did you? I suspected. I just couldn't picture Larry protecting you like he did that day. Everyone else is saying you did it. The whole class was against you, remember?
Yeah, too well.
Right? You may not know this, but we used to have a saying back in school. You know Phoenix, right? That kid's gay. That was the saying, right? When something smells, it's usually the butts.
I know.
Really, right. I'm surprised you didn't figure it out.
Well, this sure is an unexpected turn of events, huh?
Edgeworth?
You should have told me. Now, Nick. It was 15 years ago. Don't you think the statute of limitations has run out, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'd say so, yes.
There you have it. Where does that leave me? I became a defense attorney because of what you two did.
Well, you always have been something of an insufferable emotionalist.
Yeah, and you get worked up too easily, too.
Death.
The death sentence for both of you. Man, if I only had known, I'd have become a prosecutor.
Same goes for me, only the other way around.
Turbo Garbage says, glad you're finally getting a legal education, Nick. Whenever it looks like a case is going south, just interview a parrot.
For the longest time, I thought that I might have killed my own father, but I thought I might be a criminal. I became a prosecutor in part to punish myself.
That is the worst punishment, being a prosecutor.
If I had known the truth, I might have become a defense attorney after all. Edgeworth? Want to switch, right?
Hey, y'all. Line up, I'll take a photo.
Ooh.
Hey, photo time. Let's go. And after that, dinner on me. Detective Gumshoe took us out on the town that night. We celebrated Edgeworth's newfound freedom, even though Edgeworth himself was still in detention. Rip. Oh, this is not over yet. Oh my god. Stick something through my brain. Whoa. I went a little overboard yesterday. My head hurts. Huh? Still only 5. Maybe I should go back to sleep. What's this? A letter? Good morning, Nick. You were really impressive yesterday. Seeing you made me think about what I'm doing here. I'm a spirit medium in training, of course. I wanted to help Mr. Edgeworth too. I wanted to help you. But I couldn't. I was useless. So she talked to the parrot. So I've decided to go back to my training. Literally, the critical linchpin in the case is her being able to talk to the parrot. I'll become a full-fledged spirit medium for starters. I couldn't say it to your face, so I left this letter. Goodbye, Nick. Goodbye? What time is it? Ah! The first trains for the mountains have already left! To the station! I guess I'm too late. Hey! Nick! Maya! So, you're leaving. Yeah. Rock solid dialogue, guys. It's hard being a spirit medium who can't talk to spirits. It's almost like you're not a spirit medium at all. And I think you'll do fine without me, Nick. Be good, okay? Hold it! Wait! What? I never could have saved Edgeworth without your help. Huh? On the last day of the trial, I heard her. I heard Mia's voice. You heard my sister? Yes, only her voice, but still. Pretty upset that you didn't transform into her. It was at the very end when I thought we'd lost everything. Well, that's my sister for you. Detective Gumshoe helped. Mr. Grossberg, even Larry. I'm the only one who couldn't help. I was useless, Nick. But you were the only one who stopped Von Karma, Maya. You were the one. Not the only one, but you were the one. Huh? I didn't do anything. All I did was wander around in a daze. Sorry, but I have evidence that you helped. Evidence? Show Maya some evidence to cheer her up. Polly. It's gotta be Polly. Huh? Sorry, Nick. I guess I don't understand. Uh-oh. Now I think about it, I don't understand. She's the only one who can talk to the fucking bird! What's so hard about this? Nope. Damn it! I missed my chance. But one day, I'll come back and be useful. I promise. I can't do the bullet thing. I forgot where I got the bullet. So this is it. See you soon, Maya. Bye. Thanks, Nick. And so my story ends. Time to turn a new page and say goodbye to the novice defense attorney that I once was. Now a new story begins. With the same old crazy cast of characters. No!
Ha! Don't think you've graduated yet. Right. Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to rethink that claim.
Yes, Your Honor. Uh-oh, I got a bad feeling about this.
Oh. Oh no. Hey pal, Mr. Edgeworth came down to the precinct to wish me a happy new year. Talk about a pleasant surprise.
Oh, Detective Gumshoe!
Then he hung his head low and went right back outside. Kinda like he was embarrassed or something. Strange, huh?
Huh? Nick? Nah, haven't seen him lately. Who, me? I've been working at a cheese shop. Missy's a nice lady, but she's not exactly what you'd call a cheap date. Huh? Oh, she's in Hawaii right now, yeah.
Right? Yeah, I remember him. I hear he's been busy lately. You know, not to ring my own bell, but I sort of taught him everything he knows. Sure, he's grateful. I don't know what that guy's voice was. Phoenix Wright, Ah, the defense attorney for whom I wrote that affidavit for, yes. Oh, you should have known. I've taken over management of the Gatewater Hotel recently. Should you be in the area, please stop by.
With you, Phoenix Wright? Yes, me as understudy, was he not? I wonder how he's doing. Haven't seen him as of late. The days of my youth. Like the scent of fresh lemons, you see. Biden 2020. Cause I'm a cuck.
Phoenix Wright? Is he an actor? Well, I'm not buying it. You can't be a star with a name like Phoenix. Do you know that they're finally putting up some DMD box sets? I know what a DMD is. Everything these days now.
I'm pleased to announce the Pink Princess is a hit. I'm sure that Mr. Wright that Mr. Wright a great deal. Oh, I'm keeping my face out of the public eye till I wouldn't want to ruin any kid's dreams, you know.
Oh, hi. I got a letter from Maya the other day. Sounds like she caught a cold standing under a waterfall. Wanted to visit, but I didn't have time, so I sent her some Pink Princess trading cards. She says she can't buy them where she is. What kind of place is she living at anyway?
Right? Who's that? You want to talk? Let's talk Pink Princess, alright? But, you know, I snuck into the studio the other day, and I saw her. The one inside the Pink Princess suit. Ugh, what a dog. I was kind of a shock for a boy my tender age.
This ending sucks. Oh god, how long is this? Yeah, I remember right. That lawyer guy. Huh? Me? I'm in training to become a paranormal photographer. You know that picture I took of everyone? Well, just behind them there's a ghost. For real? Now that's talent. I'm gonna be famous. And the ghost is the best looking one. Good job. Oh. Oh no! Why? Why would you do this?
Rise from the ashes. Save your progress.
You thought it was an ending, but it was me! Another episode! Oh, God. Oh, we are not doing this. Maybe ever. Oh, my God. Kill it. Kill it with fire. Oh. All right. Let's, no, tomorrow is Drexel. I'm not going to do Phoenix Bright with Drexel on. That would be terrible. Okay, we're going to do super chats and then we're going to call it a night. Oh my God. Trophy Hunter says, Nick just get Agent Proper to do a DSP lore stream with you. Pig ups. Also, Filbert doesn't want to get in trouble with detractors now, whatever the F that means. Who's Filbert? Is that Darkside Phil? Do you call him Filbert? I don't know. Yeah, and Agent Proper should be on the show on Monday. Keck 7Go will be on the show on Monday, and we may have more people. But so far, Keck and Agent Proper have responded. Crusader Saracen says, only women in Michigan are called Michiganders. The men are called Michigese. Never again. Never again. Chengiz Khan says, the only thing scarier than the government using the virus to strip our rights and use them and the Wu flu as political tools to stay in power is that many people are totally okay with the government doing so. Remember when 1984 was fiction? 1984 was never fiction. Mercenary X says, wow, Edgy's dad with Ron's voice is still more manly than Ron could ever hope to be. The next voice for the next case's villain should be a very hearty, father-like person, if you ask me. That is, if you remember when you play the next case 15 years from now. Maybe longer. Maybe longer. Okay. Zero Absolute Zero. So Filbert is DSP. So why would he not want to get in trouble with detractors? Is it because his detractors have been sending information to his creditors? Maybe that's why. Gundam's people deny you've properly reached out to the real Gundam. They wait your confirmation. I mean, he didn't seem interested in the chat. I'll ask him again. I'd love to have him on. Even if we don't talk about, even if it's not for the DSP stream, because he didn't seem interested in that. But if he is, I will gladly talk to him. It's not like I'm not trying to have him on. He's hilarious. Zero Absolute Zero says, when will we have Drex and Ty on together at the same time with their personalities clashing? I want to see how Nick handles being the middleman. Oh, it'd be fine. Mario Carter 13 says, Michigan fixed itself with Hollow Shaft Nut Driver. Dragon Fist 900 says, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Cardsplaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Negata of Negate Attack, a small trading card from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Angry Baneling says, you look worn out. Go to sleep after this. Don't twitch. Adam D says, that's Whitler to you. Ray Drake says, later chat and Nick, catch the replay in the morning. Nick, get some rest, Boomer. You look rough as hell. Yeah. Very, very tired. Moist John says, prison changes people. I wouldn't take away compensation from them and be able to sleep feeling safe at night. Me either. Oh, that's horrifying. Alucard SRH says, if you're doing DSP on Monday, get It's a Gundam. I will ask again. DCV Titan says, 28-year-old cat girl. She was an 18-year-old cat girl. Now she's 28. She had to chop all her hair off, and now it all spikes out in the back. She drives a what? It's a RAV4 now. With 2 car seats and a bunch of depression in it. KCDC, East versus West. Nick! 2 goddamn gentlemen is coming. That's not a grammar mistake. Or an innuendo. Watch out for it. Adam D says, someone should tell Whitmer makeup is non-essential. We want to see her real face. Oh, rude. Rude. Some nobody says, it's prisoners of the state of Michigan, to be exact. That's rather than Michiganders. Theragwin says, that woman is killing the economy. And yes, Michiganders, crazy that we could not buy certain things. Beige Devil says, get a shave and a haircut, you hippie. I can't. Governor Tim Walz is preventing me from doing it. All I can do is run a comb through my mustache. Feel Good Always 990 says, Whitmer worse Clinton. Romeo Garbo says, too tired, going to sleep, have a good day / night. Hey, you too, buddy. Mario Carter 13 says, I'm relieved you banned the camps. Mine governor. Theragwin says she is going for the VP. Creeper Weirdo says, don't awoo, avoid the Kung Flu. Indie Visualist says, Trump is the God Emperor, protector of the Imperium of Man, saving us from the forces of chaos. P.S. SJWs are Slanesh because they don't know what gender they are. Well, I think it's Siege because they changed genders. Batgoat says, for Grifter Chair. Gangio says, Missouri is officially suing China. Would you be interested? Oh, I talked about that. Would you be interested in looking at that? And as a resident, is there any way I could assist if you are? I mean, I'll take a look at it, but I just don't think the federal government is going to allow a suit of China to go through. And even if they happen to somehow win, I think they would invalidate the award. There's not really any way you could assist, though. I don't think. Because it'll have to be in federal court, so I'll be able to get the documents pretty easy. Satanic Potato says, now wait a minute, game, no! Game, no! Daydreamer says, let the parrot take the stand. Super Shiny Darkness says, first time donating. Hey, thank you. Just wanted to contribute my appreciation for playing a game you despise for our entertainment. Garad Hannah says, someone clip that large file part, please. Bad Dragonite says, Polly better learn to D-U-C-K. Bad Dragonite says, Keanu win all Manchurian candidate. Pix Lexia says, and Alex Jones angry voice, I've seen your hernia. I've seen your hernia. I gotta cover that. That Alex Jones thing was pretty crazy with his wife, ex-wife. DCV Titan says, how long do you think it takes to discharge? I don't know. I guess it depends how excited she is. Conspiratorial Walnut says, stop Lemoyne by breathing in his direction. Oh. Siren Jag says, you'll see who's an insufferable emotionalist when I'm laying the smackdown on your prostate, Edgeworth. Hope you like butter-flavored Crisco. Mario Carter 13 says, in Dual Destinies, you talk to Monica at SeaWorld. Rage DMX 47 says, Nick waifu denial Rekieta. The Daydreamer says, Maya took the bullet from Von Karma when he tasered you. She secured the key evidence. Also, when we're on to other topics, thoughts on Preston Poulter trying to trademark Comicsgate. It's going to be tough to do if anybody objects to it. In a weird way, I still think Ethan Van Sciver may have the common law mark to Comicsgate. If he wants to defend it, he may have it. Mainly because of his show, Comicsgate Live, which is probably one of the first uses of it in commerce. Hard to say. So it's an interesting question. I think he's got it, though. I don't know how Preston would have it. He would have had to use Comicsgate in commerce prior to Ethan Van Sciver. Vicky, do a video about what? Goof Troop says, looking to build an army for 40k once things open up again. Any recommendations for beginners? I know EVS isn't Comicsgate, but if anybody has a right to the trademark, his show, which he makes money from and uses to promote the comic books that he and then others create, is called Comicsgate Live, which may give him the right to the mark, unless you can find someone else who used it in commerce before that, or unless you could find that he didn't sufficiently protect the right to the mark after that. Hard to say. It's not, and that's all dependent on if he would want to defend it. The problem is, if someone else wants to trademark it, he almost has to. He almost has to, or else he loses the ability to call his own show Comicsgate. Now, he could contest it and say that no one owns it, and that it's not sufficiently unique or whatever, that this guy can't do it. He could just contest the guy's ownership of it and not claim the trademark for himself. But, you know, if he wants to keep calling his show Comicsgate Live and marketing books under Comicsgate, he may have to do that if the guy trademarks it. And Preston probably has figured that out. So that's the problem. So now everybody gets to waste their time. Again, Preston would have to show that he used the term Comicsgate in commerce prior to Ethan Van Sciver, if he wants to actually trademark it. Goof Troop, as far as, I don't know anything about the board game, really. I mean, I've played a couple games of Kill Team. I like it. But as far as tabletop 40k goes, I'm not a good person to ask who you should, like, for recommendations. If I were building an army, it'd be Custodes. That's what I would do. And but those guys says, Nick, opinions on Total War Warhammer 2, and would you buy it on Steam? And would I buy it on Steam? I like it. I haven't played it in a long time, but it's great game. If you like the Total War games, it's really good. It's a great recreation of Warhammer Fantasy, and it's a lot of fun. I'm bad at strategy games, so I don't play it that much, but I used to play it a lot, and it's well worth it. If you like strategy games at all, it's a great one. All right, let's get this outro playing. Okay, guys. Let's Fulux, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Ethan would want to own the Comicsgate trademark. I'm not saying he would want to do that or should do that. I'm saying if Preston files for the mark and it's not contested, Preston could win the mark. And it has to be contested by someone with a better claim than him. And if he wins the mark, then nobody gets to use Comicsgate except who he, Preston, decides. So, like it or not, someone might have to fight for it. It's not about wanting to own the movement. He could actually, if he wanted to, he could win the right to the trademark and just generate an open license that anybody can use to be Comicsgate if he wanted to. Or he could create a coalition of people to own the Comicsgate mark, and or like a board that you could do all sorts of things with it. But if you want to protect the mark from some other asshole taking it and gatekeeping people and preventing them from saying the word Comicsgate without their express permission, you might have to fight for it. Anyway, that's it. Xenon, I've heard it's a very long case. I'm not really interested in it. Oh, okay. Fulux, sorry, I didn't mean, I missed the context of your statement. Sorry for calling you out like that. You were responding to someone else, not me. He says, someone in the chat said EVS is Comicsgate. I was replying to that. I understand the context. My bad, buddy. I didn't mean to misunderstand you. And then finally, Kidda says, Preston's trademark hasn't been reviewed. Won't be for 3 months. U.S. Patent Office says it's too early to file opposition since it's flagged as not in use and not approved. Yeah, they have to, if they approve the mark, then there's the review period, so people have to just make sure they keep watching. And then finally, Saban Knight says, AKA Chickenpox. Chickenpox. I don't think that's that's probably not okay to say. All right, guys, I gotta peace out. I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll have a good Drexel show, and we'll see you then. Have a good night. Peace. Peace.